This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1231, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Nashville, it's artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What's happening?
Just down the street there in Nashville, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
And in LA, you know from Social Club Misfits, it's Marty.
What's going on?
Okay, we have a great show coming up. This is like a friends and family type show. Andy Mineo is our guest today.
Hey,
I know you guys are...
Can you add fake applause? Do we have that effect?
Yeah.
Do we have that?
I got
Can we get the
Breakfast
Funk
Club?
Funk Master Flex horns? The burr, 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 burr.
Yeah. The Dilla siren.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm talking back in 2016 or something. We had a soundboard, I still have it, but I mean, we had a physical soundboard that our producer loaded in all those special effects for me. And like live during the show, I would do that Morning Zoo Crew sound effect crap.
Bring it back.
I went so far with it. They're like, okay, we need to not do that anymore.
That's so good. Oh, it's like The Office with Dwight. Oh, yeah.
Bring it back. Bring it back. I'm ready.
No, not right now.
Yeah. Anyway, so Andy's coming up. Emily, you did the interview with Andy yesterday. What was your takeaway? What was your experience? I asked you via chat, how did it go?
Be honest about
what
it,
did
Emily,
you tell me?
Yeah, it's a loaded question.
I will admit it. And again, let me preface this with, I meant this as a high compliment to everyone involved in what I'm about to say. It was very fun. We talked for like a long time. It was a really good conversation. And I told Cameron, it was like talking to a chill Marty. And again, I cannot stress how much I love talking to Marty, and I love talking to Andy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, he is me with Adderall, basically. Like he is, when I take my meds. Yeah, when I take my meds and my ADHD medication, he's the calmer, confident version. I get it. I've known Andy Derek known Andy for years, and Cam known Andy for years.
We was kids.
He's a chill. Yeah, he's a chill dude. But I'm
literally met him once,
different.
maybe twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
His dry humor is next level. Like he has a
Yeah.
crazy level of like dry humor, like comedic timing. It's him and Wordsplay's humor is some of my favorite.
The video that they just did of like their brainstorming, whatever it was for the new album, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And it was like set in an office. The comedic timing. Yeah, the comedic timing of that and the self-deprecating, self-aware humor of it all.
Yeah.
So funny, dude.
Oh yeah.
I talked about that because like I brought up those videos. I was like, I feel like you're having a lot of fun with these like skits and bits. And he was like, I feel like people don't know I'm actually pretty funny. And like, I want people to like know me more and know my humor. And I was like, let's keep doing that. So yes, he's aware of it. It's fun.
I told him, I texted him in Wordplay. I've texted him so many times, like, please just do a like Eric Andre, like a show like that. Yeah, just do a show like that. Just like what was the one that Tyler Creator did? Loiter Squad. Like if they did like a Loiter Squad type thing, man, his platform would explode because Wordplay humor is ridiculous too. Like, so you already got the writer's room. You just got to actually do it.
He's like super deadpan, right? Wordplay. Like in that skit he was.
It's amazing
he is.
too.
The thing is, like, I always explain this to my wife because my wife and John Wordsplayed have the same humor. It's like this California smart humor. It's like they point out the obvious, but it's like no one noticed it except for it's like I don't know how to explain it, but it's a very California smart, almost like a New York, like upper class.
I feel like Vince Staples has that humor too.
Yes.
Exactly. That's a perfect example.
That's perfect.
And they're gonna. So it's funny because John Wordsplayed, and my wife have the same humor. Me and Andy have the same humor, and so it works out. Our group chat's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna even lie. Me and John, it's called the Boys Talk because our wives are really good friends, and they have the girls talk. And so we have a lesser version of a group chat. But yeah, Andy and John, two of the best people in the world.
I just want to point out, you yourself just made a comparison between you and Andy, so I'm not wrong.
You know what? But here's the thing. A lot of people, and people who are listening to podcasts, you'll understand, a lot of us grew up on the same exact thing. Like, I grew up on wrestling. He did too. I grew up, Ninja Turtles, like there were a lot of things thrown our millennial way that we all kind of jumped on. He just, he was like New York, upstate New York, and I was in Fort Lauderdale. So like we both got hit with similar but different things. New York and Florida are similar.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like there's a connectedness of like just outside the city in New York and just outside of Miami. And like there's a lot of New York and South Florida. It's the same thing.
They say that outside of Israel and outside of New York, where I live, where my family literally lives in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, third most Jewish community, and I feel like the Jewish community in New York, it's like this Italian Jewish humor that me and him have, where we're just, everything's a joke, and I'm even realizing this as I get older is like, there's no reason to be mad. Everything is literally. You can laugh at it, even if people get mad at you. It's like the New Yorker way, like this. It's over my head. I don't care, like let life happen type humor, and so we kind of embrace that.
Love it.
I love it.
Okay, I wanted to do something before we get going. We have Relevant Buzz coming up and stuff, but like I realized from time to time I was playing some music. Oh, I know what it was. My Apple Music recently shows up on the car dashboard, and Cohen pointed out, like, why were you listening to XYZ? And I was like, oh, me and Marty were talking about, and I was like, have you heard Marty's new? So I went into this, like, I was playing him all of Marty's, like, recent stuff. And I was like, I cannot believe my friend is this good at music. This is insane. And then,
thank you.
You know
wow.
what I'm saying?
I did not expect that.
Factuals.
You know what? Let me tell you something.
Factuals.
When I was in Social Club, no one ever would ever tell us we did good stuff. I don't know if it's a group thing, but
That's
as a
crazy.
solo artist, I have got a lot of people who are like, I really enjoy what you do. And so, like, this is new to me. Even me, like, accepting it. Like, Derek will hit me up and be like, bro, that is awesome. And I'm like,
yeah.
Let me think of a self-deprecating joke because I don't know how to handle people being nice to me right now.
Well, and two, it's not just, he's a good rapper. I mean, you're like this is what I was talking to Cohen about. I was like, he's conceptualizing the song. He's writing it. He's doing the production. I mean, and I was telling him, it's like, he tells us, like, he doesn't like sit there and like take months to write out his lyrics. He's just like freestyling, and it's like Derek does the same thing. And
Derek
because
is
of that,
faster than I am.
Because of that connectedness, I then pulled up Derek's recent stuff, and I was playing Derek's stuff for Cohen. And I was just like, look at this. This is my freaking group chat. I cannot believe my friends are this talented. So anyway, I was like, our listeners know you guys as people more than they maybe even know you as your new art and like all the amazing stuff you're doing. And I was like, man, we gotta push their art on the show more. So anyway,
I bet Emily missed the day where me and Derek were together. We're just making all these hits, and she wasn't.
I can't believe you bring. You know what? I actually don't feel bad calling Andy the chill Marty because that was my little page.
That
didn't
is
show
the
up.
pettiest thing.
She didn't show up. But we had honestly, like, what? Okay, so one thing I feel, and we'll get back to camp, but I always feel like what makes someone successful to me is the curiosity you have about the subject that you're in. And Derek has when I watch him work, I'm like, wow, like not only are you trying to learn more about whatever we're trying to do, but you're generally you've worked and you know what you're doing. So I gave him a song literally at the studio, and he was just making a song out of it, really like this. And something I could never do. One of those artists where I'm like, how did you just do all that in 10 minutes? Derek's what we like to call a freak of nature.
Thank you.
Not the Diddy style, just like I'm talking talent wise.
Derek's literally rubbing baby oil on his hands right now.
Not the baby oil. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Derek's a freak and not in the,
Anyway, Derek
Thank you
has
for
been
clarifying that, by the way.
lately, Derek also, great producer, great artist, but like he's been playing with video and he's been playing with like animation and different things. And so like the other thing I was like pulling up to show Cohen, like all the links you've been sending in the group chat of like all the stuff you've been experimenting with. Yeah. And I was like, look at this. Like this is crazy. Like this guy started out as just a rapper and now he's like running a motion video studio over here. You know what I mean? It's like, this is crazy, man. And I honestly, I kind of said this to my kid because he's in high school now. It's just like, surround yourself with people who are better than you and who inspire you. because it'll make you raise your game. Because I'm not going to limit my thinking to one lane. Look at what Derek's doing. He's branching into new lanes. So it's like you guys are doing inspiring stuff. And anyway, I wanted to highlight a couple of your recent stuff. Do you mind if I play a couple clips? Is that cool?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Derek, you mentioned you just released a music video. I can't play. I mean, I'll play a little bit of the song on the podcast, but, guys, go check it out. Derek, you want to intro it?
Yeah, so I just released a video called Let the World Break Me. It's pretty much, I took some of the most epic stories in the Bible of people overcoming things, and I just created a video out of it, and it was fun. And it's animation, it's claymation. Like, what was that show? What was the show? Robot Chicken. Like,
you know what I think about? I think about, and this will definitely date me, but I definitely think about Celebrity Deathmatch.
Yes, that was,
remember that?
Celebrity
The
Deathmatch.
claymation was my favorite.
Yeah. So I went back, vintage claymation style, and it's super dope. So we having fun with it.
Here's a clip of the song.
Get back to my faith. Look into the future. All this pain gon' make me great. I can't let the evil all around me make me hate. I can't let the devil on my shoulder have its weight. Breathe. I won't let no goofy give me anxiety. I won't let no lame get a.
That's obviously just the audio. Go check it out. It's on YouTube. It's worth checking out. Marty, what's some of the new singles you've been dropping?
Yeah, so this year I dropped a song called "Why," featuring me and Spencer Kane, good big collaborator with me. Love him. He's like Derek. These guys in Nashville, and they not only make music, but they do 4 other things. And I think that I think growing up, seeing people do multiple things, I was like, I never understood that, but now I get it. Imagine being so good you can move on and start to master other worlds. And so that's the type of artist that we have in the Christian space, which is really cool. But I dropped a song called "Why" featuring Spencer Kane.
All right, here it is.
And I'm in my Adam Sandler fit. We the people's choice, #1 candidate. Told you I'm a man of God, I don't need a manifest. I mean, this could have been an email. Making rap songs, beats to bricks at a retail. If I'm coming through, my brody strapped like a seatbelt. Got the city on my back like shorty when her feet swell. I don't know who you are. This boy's faker than a prophet with a business card. Could it be a coincidence or is it God? If I ain't your favorite, then I wanna know why.
All right, I'll be honest with you. That stupid song is an earworm stuck in my head 24/7 this week. It's really
me money.
I love it. I don't need to play it because it's stuck in my head all the time. Like I'm playing it in my head. I'm mad at you and Spencer for that hook. But anyway,
Marty is great at making hooks that get stuck in your head. Like,
yeah,
I just walk around sometimes and be like, nope.
Yeah. And I'll say, I mean, I feel like overall, it speaks to like Christian music right now is getting really good. And for me, Christian music hasn't been, I'm not a big fan of Christian music because I just don't want to listen to it because it's Christian. That's not a good excuse for me. Just because it's Christian, I have to, like, this is my 4 options. So like now I'm at the point where I'm like, wow, I can actually listen to stuff and I'll get what I want out of music, which, I don't get in mainstream sometimes. So to hear the type of artists that we have and the caliber, especially the older ones that are reinventing themselves, I'm really more excited about that. Like,
what do you mean? Like Mercy Me?
No. I'm talking like and I said this before on the podcast and someone actually DM'd me and they were very offended by it, but I don't want to listen to an 18-year-old tell me about life and music. I don't care what you have to say. I want you to live life. I want you to experience. After 25 is when I want to start listening to you because I'm not trying to hear you rhyme with the word vibe 4 times. Vibe, side, God on my side. Like, I want to hear actual something about your life. And if you have nothing to say, don't make music, in my opinion. So
Side note,
I feel like a lot of these cool artists are killing it. But
side note, I have a playlist called POV. You love rap music, but don't like getting shot at. And it's bumping. We got Marty. We got Marty on it. We got some pretty cool.
I don't want to get shot.
People on it. So yeah, if you want rap music that you don't have to wear a bulletproof vest to listen to, POV
or baby oil.
Baby, if you don't want to get oiled up or shot at, definitely come holler at me.
I have a playlist. It's called Christian rap music that Emily will enjoy, and it's basically if you don't understand hip hop, Emily likes it.
I listen to rap music. I just don't talk about it a lot.
This is my favorite era. I'm not gonna lie though. This era of like snarky playlists that are built around our everyday life, it's kind of a fun era. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's so many cool playlists on. I saw a playlist that was like your life if ice cream was melting or something like that. It was like some sort of ice cream melting type deal. And it was just like, it's like, how do you feel after you drop ice cream and it melts on the floor? You're disappointed. So all of the songs were like really disappointing, downer songs. I'm like, see that? Like, I like this era because the fans are making playlists and they're making vibes and I rock with them. So this is a pretty cool era. I ain't gonna lie.
Marty, you have another song you were going to mention?
Yeah, so I got a new song coming out in February that I haven't even told anybody, but it's called Spoiler Alert, God Did. And I wrote it in 15 minutes and made the beat, I chopped the beat, did everything. And it's coming out in February. And the cool part about that is literally I did everything on it. Like I had to submit it I recorded it the same day that I submitted the song for iTunes and stuff. So hopefully quality control, it passes your guys' ears, but it's a cool song.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, man.
I'm curious, how often, do you guys listen to your own music when you make it? Cause I really like what you listen to. And you were saying, Marty, it sounds like you kind of want to make music beyond just the 4 typical sounds or whatever. Like, do you guys listen to your own music?
Yeah. I listen to it.
We mix
a
our
lot.
own stuff too. Mm-hmm. So you have to listen to it 45 times and then you get sick of it. But that's how you know it's a good song, because you're listening to it over and over and over and you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
But once it comes out, then I never listen to it again.
Yeah, me too. Because I'm like, my ears are like the idea. Sometimes I'll go on my daily walk and I'll listen to my own music to be like, all right, what do I have to fix? And I'll pretend I'm like not me. And I'm like, how would somebody who's not me listen to this song and how would they take it? And then when the song comes out, I'm like, all right, next thing,
Yeah. I got 20 other songs I'm mixing and I'm on like draft number 13. So I can't listen to the songs that are out. So
I get that. And too, like if you're dealing with your own music all day, every day, it's like when you're not working on your music, it's like you want to be listening to other stuff.
Oh yeah.
Just to expand yourself. So
I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to Relevant, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to, you know what I'm saying, different stuff like that.
Yeah, I never listened to this because I work on the editing and all this stuff, and it's like I never listen to the podcast when it comes out. The other night, I was listening to a different podcast while I was like cleaning the house, and like our new episode came on right after it, and I just started listening to it, and I had literally heard it the night before, you know what I mean? So it was like, it was kind of, but I was listening to it like with fresh ears, and I was like, we put out a good show. What is this?
We're hilarious.
This is good.
We're hilarious.
The sauce is listening to stuff that you dropped like 6 months ago. Yeah. That's the sauce. Like I'll listen to a song that came out like last year and enjoy, or 2-3 years ago and enjoy it there because it's like a nostalgia factor at that point. So like I don't listen to like the new podcast. I'll go back and listen to something from like September of last year. You know what I mean?
Get that. Yeah. Well, there you go. All right. Well, this will be a classic that you'll listen to in 6 months. There you go. All right. After this break, it's Relevant Buzz. Okay, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily.
Yeah. Well, you may or may not have heard, but Brandon Lake and Jelly Roll are going to be releasing a worship song together.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually originally a Brandon Lake song called Hard Fought Hallelujah, but Jelly Roll heard the song and it seems like it had like a pretty big impact on him. He actually posted a clip where he told Brandon why he wanted to collaborate on the song with him. And I'm going to let the clip play so y'all can hear what he has to say.
Well, the first time I heard Hard Fought Hallelujah, I haven't had a record touch me like that in so long. It's been years since I worshiped the way that I worship to that song.
Wow.
Because like I carry my faith with me, but I'm also struggling.
Yeah.
And very honest and open about that.
As we all are in different ways, yeah.
I've been so bitter and hurt by the church and their dogma that I created my own. Now, because I believe music meets us where we are.
Yeah.
I needed that record when I heard it. But then to double back and be like, yo, there's a chance you could work on this record with this guy. And I'm like, whoa, God sends me the record for me. Not only does he want me to listen to it and worship, he wants me to live with it and learn it.
Like, I know we've talked about Jelly Roll a few times over the last years, but it's clear he's going on like a really cool, like spiritual journey. And so I'm interested to see where he goes after this worship song, if he continues to make more worship songs or his own worship album.
Nah, this is him. This is Jelly Roll. What you just saw, like I've watched his underground from forever. He loves God. Like I know homies that have tapped in with him really, really heavy. He loves God, but you know, you went to juvenile detention centers and you got tattoos all over your face. You don't really fit the typical Christian mold. And so if you're a person that doesn't want to change and fit the, like he said, the dogma or fit the culture of a certain thing to be a Christian, you just kind of go off on your own. So I think the big issue with people like Jelly Roll and what we've always tried to do at RMG is to create a pathway for the people that look like us, that don't necessarily wear khakis and button-up shirts, and you know they might smoke a cigarette. I want to create space for those people to have their voice heard because they have those Paul testimonies. You know, they have those testimonies that the world needs to hear, and it feels more like he heard a Brandon Lake song and was like, "Wow, I can relate to that. I want to be a part of that." So I'm just letting y'all know, like I've known of Jelly Roll for a long time, and his faith has always been a part of his journey. It may not have been. The sad part is that you don't have people to walk it out with you because you're too risky. You know what I mean?
Well, and the fact that he connected with a song called "Hard Fought Hallelujah" makes sense.
It makes all the sense in the world to me.
It's a hard fought hallelujah. Yeah.
I love that Brandon's able to bridge those gaps too.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. That's something I look for when it comes to an artist who's especially Christian, because I feel like a lot of what we do is outreach. So the idea that somebody can function in the real world outside of the bubble of Christianity and church is very, very important to me, because Jesus is able to do that. Why are some people you talk to, they're not able to function outside that bubble. Right. They can only live in that world, and it's too scary for them to get dirty in their hands dirty in the world. And to me, my whole life is like the opposite. I've always felt like I belong. I could talk to someone about Jesus without having to quote scripture, in the sense like I could tell someone and relate to them without having to be like, well, the Bible says. I could just talk to them human to human.
Right.
I think that's my biggest strength. It's hard for me to connect sometimes to the church in a way because it's culturized. You know, like there's certain phrases we could say to get an applause, and I'm over that. You know, I want to have real life connections to people and see real life change, and that just comes with discipleship and getting your hands dirty. And sometimes it's not fun to talk to people who have addiction problems. It's not fun to talk to people who have real issues. But if you start to see that, you know, change, it's the greatest feeling in the world to see God's actually working in somebody.
That's good.
I think what's cool too about that, kind of like to your point, is I feel like it doesn't happen often where the main artist on a collaboration is the worship artist, and then they bring in maybe like a mainstream artist. Like I feel like a lot of times I'll see mainstream artists who bring in like I'm thinking about like Glorilla brought in like Maverick City on a song recently, whatever, which is cool. But it's like, it's cool that Brandon's kind of doing the opposite, where it's like, this is fully a worship song and I'm bringing someone who has faith, just isn't in this genre.
Hopefully it turns out better than that Tasha Cobb Leonard Nicki Minaj song, though.
That one we don't talk about. Yeah.
We don't talk about that.
I listen to the gospel station on the way to church on Sundays just to kind of like, you know, set the environment. And Tasha it was like a full on worship song. And I was like, man, this is legit. And we had just had her in the magazine or something. It was like a year ago. And and I was like, oh, Tasha, we just had her. And I'm listening, it's great. And all of a sudden Nikki comes on And it was the most out of place verse. It's like, did she even hear the song she's part of? It was just
like, boom, boom, boom.
It was just
I'm
like
building like a Barbie
well,
today.
no, it was like God gave me all this bling and all my stuff and and I was just like, this ain't worship. Nikki, get off this track. Like, what are you doing? Anyway. Anyway, all right.
That's when you need your writers.
It's better than the Glow. I like the Glorilla one with Kirk Franklin.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys know about that one? Glorilla is like the new up and coming, like
I know
real street.
I know Glorilla is. Yeah.
Well, her album has Kirk Franklin on it, and it's a real collaboration. It's actually really good.
Is that the one there's like a prayer? It's like a prayer song, and then the next song is like Raunch again. It's like it's like track 3 or 4 is like Kirk, and then it's like the next.
And then the next one's My Neck, My Back.
Yeah, it's like wait, what?
It's pretty much like that. Yeah. That's what. It's funny, but I do think that they actually did like a little interview together where they talked about that interaction with her and Kirk and making that song really interesting. But then the next song is pretty raunchy.
I feel like this what's happening with Brandon and Jelly Roll is actually fundamentally different than the examples we just said, because I feel like there's artists that grew up in the church. Now they're famous for very explicit content. They're not living the life at all, but they'll throw a bone back to the church. It's not representative of a life change or a heart change. Whereas I feel like what's happening with Brandon and Jelly Roll is like, this is an authentic heart thing for Jelly Roll. This is an expression of my faith and my spiritual journey. I'm going toward God, not God's in my past. And I'll just give some, I'll just kind of reference him. Yeah, shout out.
I'll knock out the song. I'll just knock out the song because it works. It's a true collab.
And my parents don't like that I did this, the kind of thing,
Yeah.
But anyway.
I think like Jelly Roll even saying like, this song made me like worship in a way I haven't worshiped in years. It's like, oh, you like wanted this. So very exciting. We're excited to hear the song when it comes out next week. Moving on real quick. I do have something for the Boy Genius fans out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, love them.
So Lucy Dacus, 1/3 of Boy Genius. She recently did an interview.
Hold on. Which one is she? Okay. I know Phoebe. There's 3 of them, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I know Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah. And then there's the short one, which is Julian Baker. And then there's the
Julian
tall
Baker.
one.
Those are the 2 names I knew as solo artists. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. There's always a 3rd person in the photos. I don't know who she is. This is who we're talking about. Lucy Dacus.
This is who we're talking about. Lucy Dacus.
Got it.
Who also is a solo artist. But so 1/3 of Boy Genius.
Okay.
She is putting out new music. And so she was doing an interview with Teen Vogue where they asked her to describe, some of the songs that are part of her, the soundtrack to her childhood. The very first song she said was Our God is an Awesome God by Rich Mullins.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So she grew up in the church. Wait, I read that. Okay. She is somebody who grew up in the church, right? She's talked about that,
yes,
right?
Yeah. She's grown up in the church. She's not a part of the church anymore, but there have been a few songs where she's kind of reflected on that. So, it made a bit of an impact on her. It seems like no matter what's going on in her life, she's still pretty excited to listen to Our God is an Awesome God.
God is an awesome God. He reigns. You know it. I see it. The finger went up. Hand went up. If you just start singing that or any song like it, people go. Like, we were hypnotized.
Well, there you go. Lucy Dacus, everybody. Wow.
The very last thing is a little bit of bittersweet news. The Righteous Gemstones announced last week that its 4th and final season is going to be premiering in March.
Do y'all watch?
I love it.
I watched the first season. I hadn't got through the first season.
Just to be clear, we cannot endorse this very Danny McBride explicit HBO show. Okay, to be clear,
insane version, but
to be clear. But if you grew up anywhere around Jim and Tammy Faye, televangelists, megachurch, I'm sorry, Stephen Furtick, Joel Osteen type world, there's a lot of familiar things. Power team, youth group, like whatever. But I'm just telling you, if y'all tune in, Relevant endorsed this show. We did not endorse the show.
The Righteous Gemstones, and there's an episode of The Boys that reminds me that this is what happens when the Christian kid that's really, really cool that sits in the back of church just says, you know what? There's no place for me here. I'm just going to go make movies. And then you get the Righteous Gemstones because they take all of the stuff that's been in their head for the past 20 some years old, and they take it and they go make shows like the Righteous Gemstones. And it's dead on, but it's very, very sarcastic.
No, so here's the thing. Jesse and I really like the show, right? Mm-hmm. And I couldn't figure out, because so many times when Hollywood does something that's like church stuff, it's like a priest robe, a black gospel choir, and they're liturgical. It's just it makes no sense. They don't know what they're talking about. It's all stereotypes. But something about the Righteous Gemstones is like somebody grew up in church in the 80s and 90s, like you're saying, Derek. They're the back row kid, but they saw the power team. They know the inside jokes. They know all this stuff. You know who it is?
Who?
Danny McBride.
Really?
Danny McBride,
is
South
the church
Carolina.
Kid that sat in the back.
You know what's funny? It's always been since I saw Eastbound and Down, and since I saw Kung Fu, Face,
Vice Principals,
yeah, like his early stuff, I've always connected to it. And it's funny because when he had like maybe 10,000 followers, this is when Will Ferrell just discovered him on the Kung Fu movie where he's a fighter, and it's like a funny, stupid movie. But I DM'd him, and I'm like, because he has Christian jokes in there too, and he does throughout. And I DM'd him, and I was like, hey man, I love your humor because I get it, because I feel like I know you. Yeah. Because he grew up in the same world we did. And so it's funny, he a lot of these jokes you had to be there.
You had to be there.
You can't just make it up and then show up to church now. You had to be a part of the culture and like the baptisms, and you had to be a part of churches doing their best to get your attention. And
and the whole thing, like there's this through line of Righteous Gemstones of like their past, and there's like the puppet ministry and all that stuff. Yeah. Very clearly Jim and Tammy Faye was South Carolina, Charlotte area, right? They were in PTL was based in South Carolina, just next to Charlotte. He grew up in South Carolina, church world. They were like the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
Of course he was exposed to all this stuff in the 80s and 90s. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, we couldn't figure out like who on the writing staff, production team, somebody grew up in the church. They know what they're talking about. And it was Danny McBride the whole time. So
that's crazy.
Anyway, what's the news about season 4 this March, last season?
Yeah, coming out this last season. They haven't revealed any like too much details about the plot yet, but one thing we do know is that they are adding 2 new people to the cast, Sean William Scott and Megan Mullally, which is, if you ever watched like Parks and Rec, that's like Tammy 2. So that's probably where a lot of people know her from.
Wait, Will and Grace, right?
And Will and Grace, yeah.
That was her big role.
Yeah. So she's going to bring some fun, chaotic energy, if I know her.
And Sean Williams, he was like all those.
Sean Williams, I just had to Google him. That dude is hilarious.
American Pie, Road Trip, that era, old school.
Role models. He's
great. Yeah, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm happy to see him also older doing stuff because I was thinking about him the other day. And I'm like, I was watching Role Models, which is, I don't approve you guys watch the movie, but I was watching that and I was like, he's hilarious in this movie too. I love those Will Ferrell-esque movies. You know?
Yeah. So there you go.
I love it.
So we're going to have
it's coming out in March.
Chaotic energy.
Okay, well, that'll do it for Relevant Buzz. Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every day, where we are covering the intersection of faith, culture, and everything in between. Thanks, Emily. All right, stay tuned. After this break, Andy Mineo joins us. Well, our guest today is Andy Mineo, the Christian hip-hop icon. Would we call him an icon?
For sure, definitely.
Okay, there you go.
Icon living.
Christian hip-hop icon. He took a few years away from the spotlight, and as he tells Emily in this conversation you're about to hear, it was all part of a bigger plan. He gives us the inside scoop on his last few years and also what's coming next. Here's Emily's conversation with Andy Mineo.
Okay, now it's time to eat. Look, where you been, Andy? It's been a while. I'm buying cribs, chilling out, picking towel. Don't you dare talk to me loud. It's not allowed. I'm the only person that I'm trying to make proud. Wow. When you got bigger than life visions, you can't get.
Well, how are you doing today?
How am I doing? I'm doing actually fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. What's been going on that's so fantastic?
Just a lot of cool things that are cooking. Woke up this morning, met up with some friends. Got my wife who's pregnant. She's like in her 3rd trimester. Working on a bunch of new music that's getting ready to come out. Finding partners for that music. You know, just a lot of like exciting new things on the way. So just feels great.
Okay, yeah, a lot of things to be excited about. First off, congrats on becoming a dad. How are you feeling about that?
Thank you. I feel great. I feel ready. And I know you're not supposed to say that, but I told a friend recently, I was like, yeah, I feel ready. And he's like, easy, man. It's pretty humbling. And I said, listen, I am ready to be sleepless, sexless, moneyless, and unappreciated. And he goes, you truly are ready. And I'm having a kid in my 30s. So for all my friends who did it in like the 20s, early 20s and stuff, I got to watch so much of it to get an idea of what it might be like. So I feel like, all right, I feel pretty prepared.
Outside ATL Peachtree, where everybody keep a tool like a GC, and why they swearing that they hard, they got ED. Not you talking about me for the.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a fun season ahead of you, not just with a kid, but also with new music. It's been a few years since you released anything. So what have you been up to over these last few years?
So I put out my last album in 2021, and I went out and toured it for you did 2 cycles of that. That ends up being roughly a year, some other tours, and then that cycle's done. And then I started working on new music, and honestly, that's when my contract with Reach Records was up. And so we started renegotiating, and then I also just wanted to see what else was out there, other options, because I had been there for so long and never had the chance to, explore the field and see what else there was. And so we've been taking a ton of meetings with different people and just trying to understand more also about like just how the music business works in general. When I came into it as a kid, I just trusted people and signed contracts I didn't understand and just moved. And I just wanted to make sure at this second half of my career that I'm understanding what I'm getting into, how the music business actually works, how royalties, how streams, how all that stuff happens, and then find the partners that fit the goals that we have. So it's like, yeah, just wanting to take time to do that. And that did take more time than I thought it would. Because I think one of the things that the music business runs on is secrecy and ignorance. It's like you don't know how it really works, and therefore you don't really know what to ask for. And the people who are going to be in partnership with you are not going to go out of their way to explain it for you. All right? Because they get to benefit from you not knowing. So, yeah, it's one of those things where I was like, okay, I gotta figure this out myself, and it took a long time. So me and my team did that. We restructured my team, my internal team that works with me day to day. We brought some new people on board full time, and that's been amazing. So I have a full-time studio engineer and guy helping me every day to make music and find music. So yeah, a lot. And then my wife has been killing it doing real estate stuff. So she's been, finding and flipping properties and creating other revenue income streams. So, been pretty busy.
Every good deed gotta be on camera. I'm mad at every driver in Atlanta. I'm mad because I spent $1 million.
Yeah, it sounds like you've learned a lot in this time away, both just like the personal and business side of music. Did it feel different stepping back into the studio this time around?
On the personal side, on like a music side, how I've changed is, I don't know. I thought about this the other day. I said, like, really my music is always pretty much a reflection of where I am at that time in my life. And I've never forced things out of like feeling of obligation necessarily. And I think that has created like always an honesty in my music, but sometimes it hasn't worked to my benefit either, by like not playing by the quote unquote rules or whatever, So I just can't bring myself to say things or participate in. I just can't bring myself to say things artistically that I don't like believe at the time. And so as I'm ever changing as a person, like that stuff's coming out. I think on the business side, I think I just understand a little bit more like what it is that I do, that it's not so mystical or what do you call it? Mystical or like, yeah, mysterious in a way. Like the music business is so mysterious because people don't understand it. And you think like just making a hit song is like, we just got in the studio and it happened, But there are a lot of elements that I've started to understand and like demystify for myself and for my team so that we can have a better idea of like where we're going, what we want to do, and who we want to partner with to get that done.
No, it's really cool to hear about the process because as a fan, like I can even tell things are different this time around just with all the creative stuff you're doing. Like you've been releasing these skits on Instagram, which I think are really funny and creative. I actually wanted to ask you about the Sounds Like Drake skit that you did. Did someone tell you that you sounded like Drake?
No, so we started releasing all these sketches with the new rollout. We shot a bunch of sketches, a bunch of comedy stuff, because what I realized is, making a fan in a lot of ways is like making a new friend. And you make friends by sharing your interests. And one of the interests I've always had has been comedy and sketch comedy and stuff like that. So we've been releasing sketches, and these sketches were birthed out of just kind of like funny conversations that we have amongst each other. That's usually how good writing happens anyways, right? So there's like this ongoing joke that like every time I make a song, I listen to it, I send it to people, I'll be like, yo, does this sound too much like Drake? And that's been like since the beginning of my career. And it got to the point where it just got funny. Everyone's like, Andy, this doesn't sound like Drake. And I'm always like, I don't know, man. Just like my inflection of my voice right here, it just sounds a little drizzy. So we were like, we need to make a sketch about how, a lot of my stuff sounds like him. So it's been just in this ongoing joke, and that sketch actually is doing pretty well.
Okay, I love being a part of the inside joke now. Out of curiosity, do you have a favorite skit that you've put out?
That I put out, I like the Sound Like Drake one. I think that's funny. I think the first one, the Welcome Back sketch, is funny. But there's actually 2 more that are coming that are my favorite. There's one about pickleball that is probably my favorite, and there's another one about some like famous influencers who have followed me over the years, and that one is really funny because I get into my wrestling bag and it's a trip. So I'm excited about all the new stuff coming down the pipeline. Like there's more in the can ready to go that is probably the best stuff. So we haven't even seen the best yet, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, like I said, I love that you're letting fans see your creative side more and more. I was personally really impressed with how you rolled out your latest project for promotional use only, because you had this whole interactive website to go along with it and all this art. What made you want to release it in this way?
I think like one of the things that I'm like getting really clear on is that I want to make like experiences for people that are like incredibly delightful. Because I think that's what you do as an artist. Like you want the things that you create to be a bit of Sabbath or like rest or like I live my regular life and then I go into this world that Andy made and I get lost in and I have fun and I have this moment of rest and joy. Like that gets me very excited. That's why I love doing live shows, is like putting on a performance for other people to enjoy. I love bringing joy to people. So when you went to that website and you're like, all right, I'm going to listen to a song. I care a lot about, we've identified this as like innovation, which is like, how do I deliver something that we all experience, a new song, in a way that might make it more memorable or different or unique for you? And so this website that had the Winamp player, and you can click around and it looks like my desktop, and you can open up different folders and see the influences and all that. I just thought that that'd be a cooler experience for some people that appreciate it, that appreciate that level of like innovation. Now it also has its downsides too, because some people are like, I just want the song the way, I've always gotten songs, which is I want to go straight to Apple Music, and I'm like, all right, I'm adding a few extra steps to make it cooler, to make it more fun. And so, we're still refining that, like how much is doing too much and how much is just servicing the fan, and meet them where they are. So I think this first drop was to reinvigorate the core, the people that are excited to take that extra step to have a unique experience,
One day slides, that's just biz though. No, I'm not single. Me and wifey about to hit 10 though. So these all want jump in the benzo. Wasn't there when I rode on.
Well, I know that project was really just a teaser for what's to come. So I'm curious, what do you have planned for the rest of the year?
My hope is that this time away has allowed me to create enough art to be consistently dropping through the entire year. So, multiple projects, Lord willing, and multiple events and multiple things that will be like really delightful for the fans.
Now, when you say multiple events, is that like tours, pop-up events? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I was thinking pop-ups, touring, and also, we've been working on this special that I'm trying to do annually. And I think this year might be one of the years that we could try to bring it back and begin that process again. So I have a lot of things I want to do. That's typically the problem, and find the capacity for it. But I have a really great team around me right now, and I feel like with this team we could execute a lot of that stuff. So yeah, hopefully, if it's in my perfect world, you're getting a project, every few months, different projects. And tours to go along with them, and a special, and some pop-ups and some activations that are like really delightful.
Okay, that's cool. I'm behind it, something different, but something's missing. It felt way off. Felt like watching Jordan play baseball. Then I got suspicious. Like, Andre, did you let your inner critic win? Did you convince yourself that you isn't him?
That was Andy Mineo. Make sure to check out his latest project. It's an EP for promotional use only. All right, after this break, it's Table Topics.
Lil Who? Or another rapper with ghostwriters who only asset is that they visual. With all due respect, I'm sort of pissed at you, cause I've been hearing things you said in interviews, and it's got me a bit confused. Saying you too old to bring something new, that isn't true. But who am I supposed to listen to? I'd rather hear from an old you than just be stuck with hearing all your old tunes. But who am I? Just one of your pupils who got student pride.
Okay. All right, we do this from time to time. We like to do table topics, the card game, just some icebreaker questions. So I'm just going to toss them out to you guys. Here we go. Emily, you pulled this list together, so I'm coming in. We got ridiculous hypotheticals, faith and culture, and pop culture and nostalgia. So there you go. Nice little mix.
Pop culture and nostalgia.
Let's start with that. Okay, if you could erase one movie from existence, what would it be and why?
Oh, gosh.
Say the first movie that I'd erase from everything would be Batman and Robin. As a big Batman fan, and you see George Clooney gliding off of a T-Rex.
Was that the nipple suit? Was that George Clooney?
It was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And the reason why, people who know me know I'm like a huge Batman fan. The reason why they even thought that was a good idea was because they wanted it to be like a Roman, armor.
Gladiator armor.
And it doesn't make any sense because he's never had that, not even in the comics. So it just was so stupid. And so that movie always offended me. And then, because beloved characters, why did you ruin the whole franchise?
Derek, what about you? You're a superhero guy. Do you agree with that?
It's definitely a superhero movie, and it's probably going to either be that Green Lantern movie that
Ryan Reynolds.
That Ryan Reynolds was in.
So bad.
That was.
Okay, I never saw it. Obviously, what was so bad about it? Ryan Reynolds is great. What's wrong with it?
Because it was bad casting. It's so bad that Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool, when he played Deadpool, made fun of the movie he was in.
Like kills himself reading the script as he's reading the script.
As he's reading the script to
nope.
Green Lantern, he kills himself in Deadpool.
Yeah,
like it's that bad. And it's just like you ask, like, what's so bad about it? It's just like it's a trash movie. Like it's
CGI too.
It's literally all CGI. It's just trash. Yeah. Like they made that movie because I think superhero movies were starting to go on an incline, and DC was trying to figure out what they needed to do next. Green Lantern is a beloved character. I love Green Lantern, all the Green Lanterns, and they just ruined it, man. So, but the guy from Rebel Road is gonna be in the new. They have a show called Lantern Corp that's coming out, and the black guy from Rebel Road is playing Jon Stewart, and so it's pretty cool. I think DC is on his way. So please, they have to redeem it.
James Gunn, baby.
Yeah, the new DC apparently is going to be good, as opposed to the weird mishmash, unfocused last decade and a half, I guess.
Wait and see. We're gonna wait and see.
I'm fully confident. James Gunn, the best Marvel movies were James Gunn.
I love James
Guardian
Gunn.
of the Galaxy, every single one's good.
I just don't want to get hyped up. I don't want my feelings.
DC's hurt your feelings too many times.
DC deferred makes the heart sick.
Yeah, exactly. They've hurt me. They've hurt me bad.
Emily, what about you?
I'm not trying to stick with the superhero theme, but the first answer I thought of was Joker 2, and that's because I saw it in theaters. That is the closest I've ever gotten to walking out of a theater in a really long time. It was so bad. But I specifically want it deleted because it has Lady Gaga in it, and I want her to only be seen as a good actress. And so I need her taken out. Like, she can have A Star Is Born, and
A Star Is Born is so
American Horror Story.
This was a brick. She threw a brick up.
I need her to have like a pretty flawless filmography, and this really tanks it.
This was a heat check. Like, this was this was literally a heat check. This is Steph Curry. Like, he just gets half court. He's just like, we'll see what
early
happens.
in the shot clock, half
Early
court.
in the
Like,
shot clock.
It's like, you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to do all that.
Anywhere near it. Like, it just, it was rough.
No, matter of fact, this isn't a Steph Curry heat check. This is a Draymond Green heat check.
From half court.
This is
early
like
in the shot
him
clock.
making fun of Steph Curry coming down and be like, you know what? I can shoot threes from half court too. That's what this is. That's what that was.
Got it.
I'm not watching this, bro. Like, when I saw the preview, I said, nope. Not
I didn't even know. I didn't know it was a musical until they were on NPR, like Fresh Air, and I was in car line listening to it, and it was like the week before it came out, and Terry Gross is like talking through, and they're talking through the music and playing some clips of it, and I was just like, this sounds awful. I had no clue Joker 2 is a musical.
As someone who genuinely loves musical, I actually don't consider this a musical. We won't get into why, but like, it just is. It just needs to be deleted for so many reasons.
This is what happens when you're in LA, you're writing a script, and you're high on edibles. You get, hey, we'll make the
people think he's self-sabotage. They think it's so bad. He was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm self-sabotaging it.
But
that's how bad the movie is.
But the Cannes clip would maybe debunk that, because like they debuted it at Cannes, and he's sitting next to Gaga, and there's a clip.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Right.
He's talking. No, he's talking. You're talking about the writer,
the director.
The director.
Gotcha.
Todd Phillips.
Yeah. Joaquin was like, I don't think he knew
like,
it was bad until they played it. He said, "This is awful" to Lady Gaga.
The lip readers got him.
It's awful, and he said, "People will hate
this."
Dude, he leans over to Gaga as credits are rolling, and he goes, "That was awful. People will hate this." To Gaga,
and he was right.
That's hilarious.
That's
She's
crazy.
like, it's not that bad, but she knew.
She said it. She goes, it's not that bad. She's trying to encourage him. It wasn't that bad.
Somebody send that to the group text. I would have seen. I didn't know that existed. I need to see that, because that's going to be a meme from now on. It's like, yo, anytime I see something that's obviously awful, I'm just going to take Joaquin Phoenix and we're going to use it.
That was awful. People will hate this. Yeah. All right. If you had to live in a sitcom universe, which one are you choosing?
The Bear in the Big Blue House universe.
I was
watching it this morning with my son.
I was just saying,
3 seasons. There's
a situational comedy.
All right. If we're going to go situational comedy, I'm probably going to go Fresh Prince World.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is that can we do that world? Because it just felt like things would always work out.
Yeah.
And also, I'm watching it.
I'm going to go Mad About You, which is a overlap with Seinfeld, that Upper West Side, New York.
That's a good one.
You know?
Yeah.
See, I was going to pick Fresh Prince because for reasons the opposite of why Marty picked it, is because everybody in there was black and rich, and I would want to know what that'd be like. So that would be the reason I was going to pick that. But if not, and I got to just be in a regular sitcom, I'm probably going to pick a black sitcom because I enjoy being black. So we're probably going to do Martin.
That's good.
Right.
That's a good one.
I probably would pick Martin. Martin is hilarious because that apartment complex is lit.
Yeah.
Like,
but like brother man from like the 5th floor, like coming in, I would be like, I don't want this universe. Why are you here? How'd you get here? You know?
Right.
Emily?
I don't know. I really don't know. It feels basic, but I really think I'd just pick Friends.
I knew you were going to pick Friends. I just knew.
I know, but it's like, people in my age living in New York, sure, sounds great.
Okay.
I did think about Broad City, but they get into some crazy situations, and I'm like, I don't think I'd want to live
City.
there.
What's Broad City?
Remember that realist?
It's kind of like Girls, like from that
it's funny.
2000s. Young 20-something women living in New York, making it, and they're living in Brooklyn or Bed-Stuy or whatever.
Are they calling it Broad City because it's like calling women broads? Like broads?
Yeah. It's 2 girls and they call themselves Broad City. Yeah.
Okay.
I just saw this real estate
I can't
episode.
endorse it because there's a lot of things in it that are not appropriate.
I'm like, that's a crazy
Right after you watch Righteous Gemstones, then go into Broad City.
It's one of my favorite sitcoms, but again, they get into situations that I'm like, I don't actually want. I want to watch them get into those situations. I do not want to be a part of those situations.
Correct.
Imagine if you were like The Walking Dead. That's the universe that I want to live in.
No,
I want to live in.
I would never. That is
world.
torture. Is what that's called.
What's the weirdest? This is the next question. What's the weirdest piece of Christian pop culture you remember from childhood?
Oof, my God. Yeah. I have a good one right here. I remember my mom trying to get me to listen to Christian music by buying Carmen.
Oh, yeah.
The tape, the standard.
Was he the first rapper that you ever knew?
I didn't know if it was like rap or not, because I think at the time I was like such a big Wu-Tang fan.
He went in his rap phase at that point? Okay, gotcha.
No, he was doing JC's in the House.
Riot, yeah.
But you have to understand, at that time when you have like Wu-Tang that are like gangster and like DMX, like where it's like, you know, Carmen looks like a punk compared to DMX, and like he has, you know, his shirt off with these like mechanical pants, and it's like stop, drop,
mechanical
and I'm like showing my mom, I'm like, they call it like mechanical pants.
Wait, the Italian Stallion had his shirt off?
No, I'm saying I was watching at the same time my mom was trying to introduce me to Carmen.
Hey, I was like,
I'm
how
watching
did that
DMX.
fly in Christian world
No,
with
I'm
this
watching
man with his shirt
DMX.
off and
I'm
mechanical
watching
pants?
Wu-Tang Clan.
Got it.
That won't even fly now.
Like it would like it's not mechanical. That's the Jinko name for them. They're called mechanics. But anyway, these baggy pants. And then you have Carmen, who has like these 5 dancers, you know. And I was like trying to tell my mom, like, how would I like Carmen when I have DMX right here, the Dark Man, you know? Like I couldn't connect to it. But my mom really tried. But the one thing that did connect to me was when he went to the Witches Invitation. That one, you know that, Cameron?
Yeah, of course.
That was a big one for me.
Yeah.
Scared the crap out of me.
The Champion was like the source of like every youth group evangelism skit. You know, it was the soundtrack.
I never saw that one.
Really?
I know, but I did see the T-Bone Riot
The
one.
Dark
That was
Expanse
another one she made me
of a timeless
watch.
place.
My mom really tried, and I got a shout out to my mom for really trying to make me like Christian music, but it wasn't until I got older that
Derek, what about you? Childhood Christian pop culture weird thing that you remember? Weirdest piece of Christian pop culture.
The only thing that comes to mind, like we didn't have a lot of like Christian pop culture at my church. It was like a little small Pentecostal church, so we didn't have that stuff because it was the devil too.
You didn't have like Christian bookstore that your family went to and stuff?
Nah, we read the Bible. You get the Bible. That's the only book you need, brother. We're not reading all this stuff.
You know about Power Team?
BIBLE, you know, that's the book for me.
That's the book for me.
Bible Man, Power Team, things like that.
So if anything, it's the lack of Christian pop culture, I think, would be the weirdest thing for me. I did see this thing. It wasn't from my generation, but that Bible Man thing looks pretty bizarre. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was real. Yeah, I remember that.
It looks pretty bizarre. I'm not like the Power Ranger Bible dude. That's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Willie, he was a big Christian celebrity get because he was on 8 is Enough in the early 80s. And then in the early 90s, he started doing Christian stuff. We thought, man, look at this. Hollywood is doing Christian stuff. We thought it was a big deal.
Wow.
Power Team was a real thing. They performed at my church. I remember that. Power Team.
I remember. Was the guy
John Jacobs in the Power Team. Come on now.
Yeah, Fern would always talk about it. He would talk. He was like, I had to sit through that every year.
They'd rip phone books in half. It was real.
License plates,
real deal.
everything.
The first time I seen a phone book ripped in half was Tadashi. Tadashi ripped one in half.
Yeah, but he wasn't trying. He was just like pushing it aside. And he's just like a monster. He's like so big. It's like, I thought it was a little black notebook in his hand. I didn't even see it was a phone.
It's Andre the Giant over here.
Yeah.
I would say the weirdest thing for me is Salty though. Salty, the singing songbook, those plays and videos and stuff in the 80s.
That?
Dude, look it up. Salty, P-S-A-L-T-Y. Salty, like the song.
Like song. Okay.
The singing songbook. Just Google it real quick and look at the pictures and understand my trauma.
Specifically, try to find an article that we wrote a few years ago where we ranked like the homemade costumes people did of Salty.
Oh, wow.
Because it is.
Wow. So Salty, the singing songbook was like kids.
Oh, God.
What do you? Hold on, Cam. How do you guys watch this? Was this on TBN?
No.
Like
so
like
it was like videos, VHS.
This
your
is
Christian
the stuff
parents would buy.
nightmares are made of
Thank you.
bro.
What
I'm not
that?
gonna lie. This is the stuff nightmares are made
salty.
of. The live action version of this is they gonna play this in hell.
Here's
Like,
how deep I go. Okay, so I watched those videos as a little kid, and then churches could buy the script of the play and perform it. And so I was in a salty play. I was Rhythm, the son. I was little Rhythm. Like I wore the book. My face was through the whole thing.
Wow.
I was like 8 or 10.
We need photos.
Look at this rat.
Charity Church Mouse. What are you talking about?
Is crazy looking.
Yeah.
Is he evil?
Wait, what was the robot
evil?
or the computer? Colby the computer?
Colby the computer
this is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why would y'all show this to kids? This is like, you know what this looks like? This salty thing looks like the music videos that Kanye West have been putting out with AI lately.
Dude.
Like it's like they're just like terrifying. Like you're just like, why are you putting this out?
So Charity the church mouse lived in the church attic and she loved Jesus, but then there was like bad rats who were rebellious, risky rats that you don't want to be like. You want to be like Charity Church Mouse.
Oh, is this a dog that's in here?
Oh yeah, there was a dog at one point.
Dog, yeah.
Oh my God, this is why is everything terrifying? This
it looks like a Tim Burton
listen,
movie.
if you're part of the crew that worked on this, I don't want to insult you. You probably was doing the best you can. You probably was underfunded. You wanted to see people come to Jesus.
Children.
But this was not the way. This is not the way.
The only reason why my mom was able to get these tapes is because we had a Christian bookstore 5 minutes away from our house. That's the only reason why she would bring us there. It was pretty big too. And I would go to, they had redemption cards, which was like the Pokemon reverse, which I have a whole book of them right here because it reminds me my mom was really good mom trying to get me off of like the bad things that she didn't really approve of, even though I was a rebel. I was the risky mouse over here.
See, the redemption cards, that was what I was thinking of for my answer to this question. Like,
okay.
I remember
redemption cards.
It was like, yeah, it's literally like Pokemon cards, but Bible characters. And
I'm dead serious when I tell you I have all of them, bro.
Yes, that's literally my brother and I, we used to have binders full of them. Yeah.
Marty.
I found it in my attic. Yeah, I found it in my attic, and I always keep it. It's just a reminder that my mom literally has tried everything to save my soul, and I just laugh about it, even though I had this stuff.
Wait, yeah, there's like power-up cards. That's like the sword of the spirit, like...
Yeah, it's good memories. I mean, it's hilarious. My mom even wrote on it like redemption card as like my initials. Yeah,
but you know what? This goes to show just to encourage the people that worked on Salty and redemption cards and Bible Man that man, you got people that grew up on this and it worked. Like you guys, Marty, you're an accomplished guy that's making music that's amazing. And
third grade,
and it's for faith. You got Emily who writing articles every day. Cameron, you're like a media mogul with faith and relevant stuff. So the stuff they did was so bad, it forced you to make amazing Christian content.
I mean, can I be honest with you? That's exactly true. I mean, like the last thing you said is like, we can do better than this. Yeah. It's literally a thought, a motivation that I have of like, They tried their best. I agree with that. I'm not bashing it. They tried their best, but why can't we do stuff that's as good or better than mainstream stuff? Why can't we set the standard versus do a half-baked version of what's popular in mainstream, right? Why are we the innovators? That does push me because of what I was raised on was half-baked, cheesy Christian, like even the music and stuff. It's like, we can do better than this. You know what I mean? So I agree with you, Derek. That's interesting. I don't really think about that.
They were trailblazers. They took a shot. They took a chance. It was bad. And but it's crawled.
All we had.
So they crawled so we could walk. So shout out to them.
Shout out Charity Church Mouse.
But hey, don't ever in your life show me that mouse before I go to sleep.
Dude, Emily, send him the article you mentioned because we really did. We ranked the top 20 most horrible homemade Salty the Singing Songbook costumes. And it is like some terrifying stuff. All right.
It's one of the most fun I've ever had writing an article, but I think it did haunt me for like a few days because I was just like,
I found my next music video, guys.
He's gonna throw that in, and it's gonna
mark my word. Within the next month, you're gonna have a music video with Salty the song.
No. Just do it as a jump scare. Like you're doing a really cool one. We're all watching it, and then boom, just Risky Rat shows up.
Yeah, that's amazing.
All right. Well, there's a lot more. We'll come back to table topics again. There's a lot more great questions. We'll wrap things up. Well, I just want to thank, before we go, I want to thank Andy for joining us. Make sure to check out his new EP, for promotional use only, which is exactly how we're using it on this show, for promoting him. Also, make sure to check out issue 116 of Relevant. Nate Bargatze is on the cover, just the biggest comedian in the world. Connor Price, Gallant, Jackie Hill Perry, Aiden King. It is a stacked issue. You can read it for free at relevantmagazine.com. Just click on the magazine tab. You can also get our beautiful digital issue with Relevant Plus. Plan start as low as $250 a month. You get ad-free and limited reading at the website, an ad-free version of this podcast, the digital issue, and more. Go check it out. It's the best way to get our content. All right, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Emily Brown.
I'm Marty.
We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
Let me think of a self-deprecating joke because I don't know how to handle people being nice to me right now.
Relevant Podcast Network.